This is a video for Lesson 20, Dialogue 1, and the 3 grammar points that are shown in the textbook. The first grammar point will be comparing the 3 the's. The first the is usually followed by an attributive, which can be formed by an adjective, a noun, or a verb phrase. For example 1, 漂亮的女孩子. Here we can see that the attributive 漂亮 is an adjective. For example 2, 哥哥的公司. The attributive here is a noun. Example 3, 我的卧室. The attributive is also a noun, and for example 4, 刚买的机票. The attributive is a verb phrase. The can precede an adjective or verb that serves as the subject or object in a sentence. For example 5, you can say 南京的热是有名的, or you can just say 南京的热. And this is possible because 热, which comes after the, is the subject of the sentence. And it's the same for example 6. You can say 他的死让我们很难受. Or you can just say 他的死. And this is possible because the verb 死 is the subject of the sentence. The second the usually links an adverbial, which can be an adjective, adverb, or a set phrase to a following verb. Adverbials are not always followed by the. So you can say as in example 7, 慢慢地吃, to eat slowly. Example 8, 很高兴地说, to say happily. Example 9, 一直地走, to walk straight forward. And for example 10, 好好地玩, to have some real fun. And you can see that in each of these examples we have the adverbial 慢慢很高兴一直好好 and then we have the following verb 吃说走 and 玩. The third and last the is used after a verb or an adjective to connect it with a descriptive complement or a complement of degree. And you can see this in example 11, 跑得很快, to run fast. Example 12, 做菜做得很好, to cook well. Example 13, 高兴地跳起来, to jump up with joy. And example 14, 危险得不得了, unbelievably dangerous. On this slide, I have 2 similar examples that show the differences in how you can use the different the's. And below that, I have the general structures that should be used for each of the different the's. So for example 15, you can say if you wanted to use the second the, 他高兴地唱着歌走回宿舍. He sang happily on his way back to the dorm. If you wanted to use the third the, you could say something like 他高兴地唱起歌来了. He was so happy that he started to sing. Now, the best way to use each of the 3 the's if you are maybe unsure if you are using them correctly or not is to just remember to put them and use them with the right grammar structure. So for the first the, just remember that it is attributive plus the plus noun. For the second, it is the adverbial plus the plus verb. And for the third the, it is the verb or adjective plus the adjective or the verb. The second grammar point for lesson 20 dialogue 1 is the ba construction, and you can use ba with directional complements. So for the first kind of complement with simple directional complements, we have 2 patterns. The first pattern, pattern A, follows the structure of subject plus ba plus the object plus verb plus lai or chu. So for example 1, you can say 请把你的床搬来. Please move your bed here. And you can say, for example 2, 小王把冰茶拿去了. Little Wang took the iced tea with him. For pattern B, you could follow the structure of subject plus ba plus object plus verb plus 上下进出回过起开 or 到 plus the place word. For example 3, 你把孩子送回爷爷家. Take the child back to grandpa's. And for example 4, 妈妈把椅子搬上楼了. Mom took the chair upstairs. Now, if you're trying to use ba with compound directional complements instead of simple directional complements, there are also two patterns. Pattern A follows subject plus ba plus object plus verb plus 上下进出回过起开 or 到 plus 来 or 去. For example 5, you can say 你把书拿起来 pick up the book. Or you can say in example 6, 小黎把车开回去了. Little Lee drove the car back. For compound directional complements pattern B, the structure is subject plus ba plus object plus verb plus 上下进出回过起开 or 到 plus the place word plus 来 or 去. So you can say, for example 7, 麻烦把包拿上桌来. Please put the bag on the table. Or, for example 8, you could say 他把刚买的桌子搬进房间来了. He moved the table that he had just bought into the room. Now, each of the four patterns are pretty similar, but there are their own differences. So make sure that when you're using the ba construction, you follow the structure of the pattern that you're looking to use. And if the compound directional complements are a little bit tricky for you, then start with using ba with the simple directional complements, and then you can work your way up. The third and final grammar point for Lesson 20 Dialogue 1 is the comparison between the 时候 and 以后. So with the 时候, the structure is usually verb 1 plus the 时候, followed by verb 2. And with the 时候, the two verbs are taking place simultaneously. So the two actions are happening at the same time. So for example 1, we can say 走的时候别忘了带些钱. Don't forget to take some money with you when you leave. For example 2, 我看见他的时候他正在打球. When I saw him, he was playing ball. And for example 3, 妹妹看短信的时候一边看一边笑. When my little sister was reading the text message, she laughed as she read along. However, with 以后, the structure is a verb 1, 以后, followed by verb 2. And for 以后, the two verbs are taking place one after the other. So verb 1 happens, 以后, and then verb 2 happens. So it's not like the 时候, where verb 1 and verb 2 are happening at the same time. So for example 1, 他从家里走了以后才想起来忘了带钱. He didn't realize until after he had left home that he'd forgotten to take some money with him. And example 2, 我到中国以后要吃北京烤鸭. I will eat some Beijing roast duck after I arrive in China. A common mistake when students are learning how to use the 时候 and 以后 in sentences is that they might interchange them between the sentences that they're supposed to be in. So instead of saying 我到中国以后要吃北京烤鸭, someone might say 我到中国的时候要吃北京烤鸭. And the meaning changes from I will eat some Beijing roast duck after I arrive in China to something like when I arrive in China, I am also eating Beijing roast duck. And that doesn't really make sense grammatically or logically, unless you're actually eating Beijing roast duck while you land in China on the plane, then what you're saying doesn't really make sense. So just remember that with 以后, verb 1 happens, and then verb 2 happens. With 的时候, verb 1 and verb 2 are happening at the same time. This was a video for Lesson 20, Dialogue 1. I hope that I helped to explain and clarify a little bit better for you how you can use these grammar points in your language learning.